counselor in charge in Turkana University College. Mainly my work is um, to give support to students as well as staff. And it's on particularly on issues to do with mental health and psychosocial support. So basically today we would like to be in that line of looking at they are now appreciating the role of the workplace counselor. And therefore, this comes in at a very opportune time to be able to look at the issues to do with mental health and also the support that we can be able to give to the staff that work under us as HR, particularly within the work environment. And that's why this input is quite important. In my experience, working in a number of institutions, I have found it really essential to keep on reviewing and also checking on the staff that are working within your environment. Just being able to say, hello, how are you, is really important. But more important, as we will get to see, is also to be able to have the disposition towards supporting the person. So that's why this input is really important. And I want to take this opportunity to also thank the Institute of Human Resource Management of considering these inputs and also giving myself a moment to be able to share with you also what we could consider basic and also very, very important. So I want to begin by saying I really appreciate and particularly input. That is Madam Violet. I really want to thank her and particularly thank in entirety the entire institution and the leadership that is also considering this particular area. So members, as we begin the conversation, I would like to begin by sharing, I don't know whether it's possible to be able to share, if I can request a host to be able, that I be able to share the screen. Sai, is it possible? Hello, CHR
Hello.
speaker?
Yes, hello.
Yes. Could you kindly enable me to share the screen?
Okay, okay. Let me enable. Yes. Okay.
Right.
I've enabled. Sorry.
Let me see. It's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
It seems like it's still disabled.
Peter. Hello, Peter.
Yeah,
This is Joseph. Have you enabled the facilitator screen?
I have enabled the facilitator screen.
Okay, thank you.
You can choose the whiteboard there, and then
Okay, fine.
I think it's starting.
yeah, sharing. Yeah,
Yes,
coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike. You can see now.
We can see it's okay.
It's okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
We want to begin okay. So we want to begin looking at this particular area, and that is on mental wellness and coping at workplace among issues affecting HR. And I've just put a cover page of a book written by John Powell, one of a very prolific writer in the area of psychology. And his book is Why Am I Afraid to Tell You Who I Am? Why am I afraid to tell you who I am? And he goes ahead to explain or even to look at different aspects in relation to in response to this quest. And when we look at it, we realize that in his book, he is presenting a number of experiences that people have, and he comes to a point where he reveals that a number of times we are afraid to tell the other person who we are, because basically that is who we are. And the fear is that we don't know and we are not sure whether the other person will accept me. The other person will be able to understand me. And this is one of the challenges when it comes to our workplace. So let me begin by asking, by looking at the areas that I would like to just run through. That is, I would like to go through the general introduction and at least have a goal. And then we have areas of learning. Then we have the timeline that will be also looking at it. And then we have a summary and a conclusion. The rest will be the reference. My introduction looks at a number of issues. That is, COVID-19 surge has brought to light and given life to new models of supervision and management. Approaches and theories less utilized, understood to be abstract, have become the reality of human resource management. This perspective has made human resource management more complex in its endeavor to maximize benefits while becoming relevant and complementary in its role to enhance the well-being of individual personnel. And therefore, working from home environments, as we experienced some time back or even now, has expanded workplaces. while bearing unprecedented interruptions and interference by family members and even friends. There are times when you could see you are having a meeting and a child comes calling mom, or even a friend begins talking to the person and you have no control around it. And additionally, this has incorporated unknown persons into assignments, work assignments, tasks designated for organizational members and welfare of the organization. More than ever, we are beginning to consider the employee as, having a number of persons around him or her. So even in terms of management, you are not only looking at this particular employee, but you are thinking behind him or her, who is present. The human resource management has evolved not only into a managerial, supervisory duty, but an empathic facilitatory path in realization of the individual's potential for growth and realization of the organization's vision and goal. So you are not only there to look at the person as him or her doing their duty, but you're also feeling and also thinking with the person in terms of himself or herself for his well-being or her well-being, but also for the well-being of the organization. Because definitely, as simple as we will get to see, that stress from my family affects the workplace, affects how I perform at workplace. And COVID-19 pandemic actually has left a trail of death related 6.5 million. That was quite early, as has been documented. Lockdown, grieving family members, loss of loved ones, business closure, lay down, salary cut down, retrenchment, lifestyle adjustment, online meeting, among other stresses, have transformed human resource management to revise various policies due to mental distress crippling the workplaces. In fact, today, the abuse of drugs has risen. Even in our places, you find more than one person. Actually, they are becoming addicted to drugs or they are absent. Why? Because either they couldn't be able to wake up on time or they are pretending or saying that they are sick out of a drinking or drug use spree. And therefore, mental health and illness assessment, diagnosis, and treatment is becoming institutions or organizations' concern and hindrance. And therefore, we shall look at mental health disorder against human resource managers' best response in the work environment and related places. Basically, this is what we want to do, but bearing in mind that you as a HR within an institution, as a manager, the issues to do with assessment, diagnosis, and even treatment are more and more falling into your domain as a manager. Think about this. Now, therefore, cut it down. For why should it occupy the land? Why should it occupy the land? And you as a HR, these words will sound very familiar when you be considering laying down an employee. What is his use? Why do we need him? Why are we spending on him? But listen to the response this caretaker gives. But in response, he says, Lord, let it be for this year also, during which time I will dig around it and add fertilizer, and indeed it should bear fruit. But if not, in the future, you shall cut it down. So as a HR, there is also that duty, that empathy, that compassion within it, that what happens to this person? If we lay him, if we retrench him, what happens to more than one person who are dependent? Is there a way I could support? Is there a way that this person needs support? So we want to understand mental health and particularly stress, mood disorders, personality disorders, and we might not be able to look at each one of these, but we'll have an overview. We will also get to understand employee assistance program or programs experiencing mental illness, and then also to understand functional support system for employees and dependents experiencing mental illness or attitude. So ideally, I would just want to focus on mental health, mental illness, particularly mental disorders, and be able to look at the definition. And I would like to highlight these two: mental illness, particularly mood disorder, and then also suicide. This is an issue that is becoming of concern within institutions. So ideally, what is mental health? And I just looked at the definition, and one of the definition that I like using is by the American Psychiatric Association, which defines mental health as a stable a state of being, a state of being that is relative rather than absolute. That is relative rather than absolute. And the successful performance of mental functions shown by productive activities, fulfilling relationships with other people, and the ability to adapt to change and cope with diversity. If you look at it, this cuts across within our scope. Within your scope is a human resource manager. Now, this person, even though he might not behave as I behave, even if he might not think or even feel as I think, but see expectations, and they're able to have healthy relationship within the work environment with other people, even from the family, but also within the work environment. If you transfer them, if you move from one designation to another, this person is able to adjust. They are able to cope with those particular changes. The desk where they were sitting, they are able to say, it's okay, I can use this one. Somebody else was using it. But when you find somebody is not able to have these adjustments, then as a human resource manager, then you realize something is also happening. In addition, Townsend is also a writer defines mental health as a successful adaptation to stressor from the internal and external environment, evidenced by thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are able to cope with stressors. If you say this will not be provided for the person, how are they able to cope? How are they able to function? But on the contrary, if we are looking at the other side, that the person is not able to cope and they are falling into stress and slowly into distress, then Townsend again defines mental illness as that maladaptive response to stressors from the internal again and external environment. Again, evidenced by thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that are incongruent with the local and cultural norms and interferes with the individual's social and occupational and or physical functioning. The person begins to be irritable. The person begins to even not want to perform their duty. They become distressed, and therefore they can't be able to come to duty or to respond to their workstation. The designation deployed, they are no longer interested with it. They don't have good relationship with their colleagues, and this becomes a concern within the workspace. In continuation, again, when we come to the to another definition, and this one particularly with mental in mental health, we have the DSM, which defines mental illness or disorder as a clinically significant behavioral or psychological syndrome or pattern that occurs in an individual and that is associated with present distress. For example, painful symptom or disability, impairment in one or more important areas of function, or in a significantly increased risk of suffering death, pain, disability, or an important loss of freedom, and is not merely an expectable response to the particular event. When we are looking at mental disorder or mental illness, what we experience within the person or what we experience while assessing the person is that there are particular symptoms that become notable. One, there is that particular distress. The person is not calm. Either they are experiencing pain, they are experiencing dysfunction, they are either coming to work late or not wanting to stay within the work environment. And they, even at times when it is severe, they can even threaten death. They can even write you a note as a HR that if you don't do this, I'm going to kill, I'm going to harm myself. And that becomes a distress, not only to the person, but you now as a manager. It becomes your response. Even other people can present risky behaviors at work. They are no longer concerned with themselves. Their safety is not a concern to them. So you actually become the okay, sorry for that.
You are breaking. We are not hearing you.
Hello.
We are not hearing you. Not yet. We are not hearing you. Yes, we are not hearing you. Not yet.
Maya consider. Maya consider.
There is challenge from Mwai's side. I think he's trying to reconnect. Let's be patient as he try to reconnect.
Alisema alisema mahali anaenda. Kwa training ya.
No, I don't go to the mimi ikiwa hapo sichoka naenda na so wewe hata mimi nisikuelewa.
Yes.
You want to
Just a minute. Now, this is to communicate that Mr. Mwai has a problem with the network on his side. So he's trying on his best to connect. So let us be patient as we wait for him to connect.
What place? No, ameenda mbali. Napatikana kwa simu.